Well, hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. I'm your host, the amazing Super Chris. Thank you for joining me today. I have a special guest. We have AJ from the Ways to Human channel. She lives down in Texas, and she's going to give us a perspective, an interesting and I think unique perspective from what's going on down there with the theocracy that's being imposed upon us. I'm from Texas, so I can give you my own thoughts about how I feel about how my home state has been doing. But she has a different perspective, and we're going to talk about that whenever we get back. Ryan, of course, is here with us this morning. Hugs to Ryan. I just knocked something over with my big monkey hands. Good morning, Ryan. Nice to have you. We'll be back in just a minute. Let's see. I'm going to run this article.
Where I put it anyway.
Nowhere to put it.
And we are back. Good morning, everyone. Let me bring on my co-host, Rion, Cultastic, and AJ.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us, AJ.
Good morning.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome. It's a pleasure. Thanks for being here this early in the morning with us. It must be pretty early for you.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit earlier than you guys. It's 8.
Yeah.
It's 8. Yeah, it's 7 for me.
Oh, okay. So you're.
I'm in New Mexico. See, I'm from Texas, but I'm in
New Mexico.
Now.
Okay.
Yes, I managed to escape.
And he's up all hours of the night.
I am. Today it was, I kid you not, 1:30 in the morning. My computer engineer came to me. There was a problem. We had to resolve the problem, and I've been up ever since. So matter of fact, I'm out of coffee. I've allotted myself a certain amount of coffee, which is like a pot and 3/4 of another pot in a day. And I've had a Starbucks at like 5 o'clock. So I've gone through all my coffee. At this point, when this cuppeth runneth emptieth, I have to start drinking water.
Oh no! And then we don't know what happened.
We don't. I fall asleep after that.
You're gonna crash.
Yes.
I guess we'll have to take over the show.
Ryan is ready to take over the show. I blinked off the show yesterday. I wasn't gone like 5 seconds, and she's like, "Well, he's gone. I'm taking over." It was like she put on a pirate hat.
That's funny. Same thing happened last night on my show. My connection went off, and she just took up like,
"Oh, it did.
It's just us."
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. Maybe the tech gremlins, the demons.
You are
raising me up because
You're the Lilith.
Yeah. I refused. And here I am.
I want to take a moment and say hello to everyone. We've got some new faces in the chat. ZComet47, good morning. Thank you for joining us. NeuroGeezer is here. NeuroGeezer, thank you for joining us. Probably like a stream, what do they call it? A stream bomb when you come from one stream to another.
Oh, yeah.
The raid. A raid, probably, I guess. Stu Pidman.
Raid. Stu Pigman.
Stu Pidman.
Pidman.
Yes, a familiar friend of ours. Our Adderall riddled friend, Stu Pidman. Good morning. Yes, I think that's where he's going with that. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Miss Non Sequitur is here. ZComet47. That is indeed a cool name. Do you know ZComet47? AJ?
I do not. I don't think so.
Okay, good. Ways to Human is here.
They must know me. Yay.
They must know you. And Jason Freer was one of the first ones in here. And Shashir Bagat was here this morning and said that Pope Ali is better than the current Pope. I think I would have to agree.
Who?
I mean, Pope Ali, have you seen Pope Ali, or do you know who Pope Ali is?
I do know who it is.
Oh, you do?
But
Okay.
I always like to see them, so.
No worries. Well, whenever he's over here, I'll show you to him later.
Okay.
Austin Sims is here. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Austin.
Wonderful. Yeah, so let me real quick, I want to ask you, if you don't mind, AJ. Now, even the evil one, you know who the evil one is? That's my wife. She the evil one.
We love the evil.
That's right. Now, we were watching, and she asked me yesterday what your accent was, and I can't place it. And I'm actually normally pretty good with that sort of thing.
Oh, well, that's funny. It's a deaf accent.
Oh!
It's a deaf accent.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains it. Oh, it all makes sense now. It's coming together in my brain. I was like, why?
Because it's not even my Hispanic accent. Because I noticed, like, with my sisters, they're both from Argentina as well, and their English is pretty different than mine. Here's why that happened. Okay, before I had my cochlear implant, I only had hearing aids, and so my hearing level without any aids was like one side was 8%, the other side was 15%. So basically, what that means is that you can only catch 8% of a sentence or a conversation. So it was like really low, and my pronunciation of English was horrific. So when I got my implant, like in 2017, I kind of had to relearn how to speak a lot of words that I was pronouncing terribly.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's where my accent comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was, so Argentina, that makes sense. But I thought maybe it was because, like, where you lived, that it was just kind because my husband, some of his things have changed a little bit. He's from, England, but I think you pronounce everything great. I just thought you had an accent that I couldn't place. That was really it.
Yeah, that's why sometimes
Exactly,
I
me
will
too.
say something and then kind of like correct myself because I realized that I'm pronouncing it wrong. So I'm like.
But what you're hearing like now?
Yeah.
Like
the level?
Yeah, like
well, see, I only have cochlear implant on one side.
Okay.
We didn't do the other side because the surgery recovery was really harsh for me. So I was like never ready for the second side. But on this side, I have the last time that I checked, it was about 70%, which is pretty good. But I will say that it has a really good technology features, and so I can puppy. I can connect with Bluetooth to whatever sound source it is, right? Like it could be my phone or it can be right now it's at the computer.
Oh, really?
So basically I hear you guys in my brain, not like coming into my ear. It's like I hear like a surround sound inside my head, basically. So it's like really high quality. I would say it's probably about like 85% that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah. Technology, science. That's why we believe in science, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And not some imaginary being creating everything perfectly.
Yeah. I should say trust, not believe. Trust.
Trust. Yes.
Better.
Really says you've become Borg.
Oh, I am bored.
You have. Yes, you are Borg. Our biological and technological distinctiveness will become part of your own, I think, if we're not careful.
Love that.
Do you know what the Borg are?
Yeah, like a cyborg, right? Is that what you're saying?
Star Trek. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
It's a specific kind of cyborg. Yes.
Nice.
Humanoid who get like implants to make them into like cyborgs of sorts.
Nice.
Like a collective who all talk to each other.
Well, it's funny because I've had other implants too. I had a pain, like a nerve stimulator on my spine, but it was also implanted, right? And then I have my my diabetic stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's how.
So I have a pump and I have a blood glucose meter, and so I have like a whole bunch of stuff. And my 2 implanted corneas from random strangers. Thank you.
You okay? So
vision.
you really are like upgraded. They've
Yeah, right.
got some upgrades.
Wow.
Where Jesus came short, my doctors took out,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
There you go.
exactly. Jesus
Bionic
can,
woman.
doctors can.
So, is there like a really cool sound when you run? It's like,
Yeah.
she may
I
not be old
do.
enough to remember the $6 Million Man.
I don't know. Yeah.
When it's
Bionic
windy,
woman.
it's pretty annoying. When it's windy, it's just like
Oh, oof. Yeah,
my
that's.
salad can hear. Yeah,
I could
yeah.
understand how that would be annoying. Oof.
But that would be cool, I have to say, even as a non-disabled person, to be able to have your Bluetooth or whatever device you wanted connected right to your freaking brain like that, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I play
awesome.
music all the time and nobody knows.
Wow.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
next level. Come on now. Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just thinking of all the ways you could cheat the system with that. Oh, shut up.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Wow.
I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mention it,
okay. We probably shouldn't talk about that, but seriously, I wonder the implications.
You
right.
created a monster here.
The
It's like
practicality.
Johnny Mnemonic right here on our show.
That's interesting because I'd never thought about that actually. Like if you're taking a test or something, you're gonna have like literally all the answers in your ear. Wow. Okay.
That's-
Wow.
I guess then
Seriously.
like your teachers will have to learn to like take your phone or something.
Or
But I
in
mean,
Vegas.
but you can connect it to anyone, literally, like any phone, any device that's nearby that
How
has
far
Bluetooth.
away does it go?
It's like
I'm so sorry.
I think
so
it's like
curious.
20 feet. I think it's like 20 feet actually, something like that.
Yeah,
But it's
pretty
quite far,
close.
actually. It's like across the house, right?
If you're right outside the door, someone's taking a
Yeah.
test and you're right outside the door. I mean,
Wow. You're
stupid
diabolical.
the evil side of me. Yes,
That's right.
diabolical. If I go to Vegas, I'm
We're
just kidding.
planning wolf
Yeah.
takeover right now.
If I hear about a trip to Vegas from you guys, I know what's going on. Good morning, Nancy. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us today. We've got AJ with us today. Now, one of the things we're talking about on the show, and I've got a poll, of course, I've got my poll. We're talking about how Texas is putting the 10 Commandments in schools. Now, there are a lot of different schools of thought, if you will, on how to approach this as a secular parent. I am from Texas. I don't live there now, but I'm from Texas. I was raised there in schools in Texas. I remember saying the Pledge of Allegiance as a kid, going through the business. I was as bad as it was, though. I don't remember, having real. I remember learning about the dinosaurs in West Texas in elementary school. So it wasn't imposed upon us that much back then. But now they're really getting after it. We have a new citizen of the United States, AJ, and she's not only a new citizen capable of voting now, but I mean, she's kind of new to Texas and all of that business. So there's this theocracy being imposed on her right now. Welcome to the United States.
Right? What a warm welcome.
It's a weird time to be doing that. Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you, do you have, I've seen you do have, what do you call them? Crotch spawn? What do they, children. You have children. And
I think I have one of those.
Yes. And now, are they dealing with this in their school? They will be, though. How old are they, if you don't mind my asking?
Yeah, they are just about to turn 14 this month, in like 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
So teenager.
Gotcha.
We
So,
currently homeschool, but it was one of the reasons why we decided to stay homeschooling. Okay, like it was kind of like a progressive decision that we made. It was over time, right after COVID. Everybody was forced to be home. Then when they went back, we were like, hey, we were dealing with some personal stuff. Kept our kid home, and then after that, it was like, things are getting progressively worse and worse, especially in our area. It's a very, very conservative area. It's not like in the main area of Houston where it's a lot more progressive and you see different types of schools. Right here is like the heart of a Republican rural area. And so dealing with that type of environment at school was pretty concerning for having a kid who is non-binary and who we were going to have to be dealing with bathroom situations and all of that. So it was like, you know what, let's just stay home for that. And I'm glad we made that decision because it's increasingly, very quickly getting worse.
Mm.
It is. It is. And now, of course, as we know, they've got the 10 Commandments that they had a bill that passed the Senate, the Texas Senate, and then the governor is due to sign it any day now. That's the only thing stopping it from actually being implemented, and he said he was going to do it. I believe there are legal challenges, of course, but, you know. Good morning, V. Thank you for joining us. Tema Extema is here. Nice to have you, all of you wonderful people. And Jason Freer, yes, Baja Con. Yeah. I was watching, I watched a little bit of you guys last night.
I guess I saw you
I
popped in. I tried to say hi.
I know. You were going, though, girl. You were going. If I would shut up, you would do stuff. That's what the wife was saying. She's like, shut up and let Ryan talk, because she'll talk. You guys were having a great show. I was watching your show.
I enjoyed the conversation thoroughly.
Yes, very passionate conversation we were having.
Indeed.
Is that your way of saying she's crazy? Passionate. I'll write that down. Passionate.
That we are crazy.
We are. That's true.
It's a reason for the Lord.
Yes, it was. It was a good show. For what bit I saw, me, I bounced, but it was stupid late for me. So Jesse Bear is here. Good morning, Jesse Bear. Thank you for joining.
Long time no see, Jesse Bear.
I caught part of the Kentucky Atheist stream. He was talking about our upcoming event, July 6th in Williamston, Kentucky. I will be there, the MC of the show, and I'll be introducing everybody as they come up to speak against the Ark Encounter. So it's the Ark Encounter protest. Are you going to be there, Miss AJ? You are, huh?
Oh, did she freeze? I believe she is. I'm pretty sure she said so, but it looks like she froze. Uh-oh.
She froze.
There she goes. She will be back. That happened.
Yes.
That's what happened last night.
Oh, really? With her? That's not just me.
She froze up. Something happened, and I had to.
It's you.
Take over.
You're the one.
I'm telling you.
I know.
See, look what I did. Didn't
she is.
Do it. Wasn't intentional.
There she is. Okay, she's back. She's back.
I was wondering if it was still live. I wasn't sure. It says on air, so I was like, all right, I think we're still live.
Well, you're back. Anyway, thank you for coming back. Deviant Outcast Bill is here. Deviant Outcast and Bill are here. Thank you for joining us all.
Good morning.
And Miss Non Sequitur. Thank you. Oh, I was saying I was watching Joe's stream last night, and again in July. Are you going to be at the Ark Encounter? Miss Ryan says yes. I say I don't know.
Oh no, I was saying that that's where I got cut off. Actually, I was saying I'm gonna try to make NanoCon, but unfortunately I cannot make it to the Ark Encounter one.
Oh, okay.
I can only make one,
Well,
so
Understood. Well, now there's a lot of people who aren't going to be able to make it who were going to be able to make it. Okay.
Oh, I heard about Aaron Ra. He was gonna be there,
right.
but then he couldn't make it, unfortunately.
And we've had people from Canada who were scheduled to speak here at the Ark Encounter, and because they're worried about going across the border. So last night, now at the beginning of the year, I had an assistant, Miss Trina, reach out to several of these cons and places to see if they had any room for speakers. Most of them were already built up. I did manage to get in with Joe and do the thing. The Baja Con is coming up, and I saw Jason and them were doing the thing, and I kind of reached out last night and said, hey guys, if you have anybody cancel and you need a speaker, let me know. I will make the trip out there. So let me know, guys. Dade Murphy is here. Good morning, Dade Murphy. Have you heard of Dade Murphy? Either one of you?
Oh my God, yes.
The name, yes.
I just recently followed him, and I love his stuff. Pops up on my FYP all the time. I love it. Yeah,
I know. Great. Now, wait a second. AJ, excuse me. You haven't heard?
No. Okay, no, I have not. Okay, I was looking at the chat. Okay, Dade Murphy. No, I have not. Then I thought you said Dave. I was like
Dade. No, Dade. That's his catch thing. Excuse me. It's really cute. Once you see him, you'll be like, oh, what Chris did was funny. I hope.
Great impression, Chris.
Great impression, Chris. Good morning,
Sure.
Dave. Thank you for joining us. Right-handed Sith, or the atheist, right-handed Sith, good morning, Mark, says the Ark encounter may be nice, but I'd rather go see the Ark reactor. So true. So those of you who don't know, though, really, for the Ark encounter, we're, normally you got to deal with Ken Ham. Well, in this case, this year, not only is Ken Ham going to be there, but also Ken Hovind.
Double trouble, y'all.
I heard that.
Yes, and he's going to bring not only his own young earth creationists, but they're also bringing biker Christians in case us atheists get out of hand. They're bringing some security.
Wow, okay.
Wow. Surprise, surprise. So let's see, Dave. Yes, Dave says he's at work. Thank you for the love. Get to work, man. Get to work. Or individual. Get to work. Love the fingernails, by the way. I saw the fingernails. Have you, not yours, but Dave's. Have you seen his fingernails?
Not me. I don't. Mine look terrible right now.
And talk about somebody who grabbed that freaking pentagram and went, "You're going to use that against me? I'll fucking take that son of a bitch and wear it like a hat." That's
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at this stuff.
That's the mood. Totally mood.
Celt. What an interesting name. Good morning. Is it Celt? Celt. I hope I said it right the first time. RE should, let me see, maybe I missed something. Should be a choice to should all things similar. Okay, that's what you were saying. John the Heretic is here this morning. Good morning, John the Heretic. So should RE, okay, I get you. RE should be a choice, but all schools, I think, should make it available, as our Western nations were built on Christian values. I'm in the UK, and it's sliding into Islam, which is terrible. Okay, religious are, so I think they're talking about putting the 10 Commandments in the schools, should make it available. It's always been available. It's always been available. You can always go to, making the 10 Commandments available, they can go to any library, they can go to their homes, they can go anywhere to get the 10 Commandments. But if I may, and I just want to state, let me talk to you, if you're a Christian, if you're a Christian out there watching, and we get into a debate, and we start talking about how ugly and disgusting the things are, the creature is, that is the God of the Old Testament. One of the first things these Christians are going to do is, oh, that's the Old Testament. That's the Old Covenant. We don't go by that. Well, that's not our business. That's somebody else's business. Jesus is the new law. Jesus is the new love. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the life, blah, 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 blah. Jesus. And yet, they're not putting the Sermon on the Mount in schools. They're putting the 10 Commandments in schools. The one that says, love thy neighbor, not in there. Right? So that it's a Christian thing, a Christian foundation. Even if our country was founded on Christian things, that's not necessarily Christian. Most of them will handily deny almost anything in that book, the Old Testament. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
It's hypocritical.
It really is. There's like 613 commandments, okay?
Exactly.
Within the ones that they chose for the 10 commandments. They're all mixed up in there. So like to say, oh no, I just followed these 10 commandments, but not these 600 others. True. When they actually do pick and choose them. Right? Like if it serves them, they're going to go and dig one of those 600 that are supposed to be left behind.
Their religion, pick and choose.
Very true. Good morning, Evel. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, you're exactly right. Bomb Poppy even managed to show up here this morning and is lurking.
Nice. I subscribe to Dave's channel.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, the things that only the Christians value America had was slavery. The only Christian value America had was, that's not wrong. They actually had their own book teaching about. But listen, if you're going to put something, a single page document of anything into every classroom in the United States, and you're going to choose it based on its historical significance to the nation, the 10 Commandments would not be that document. It would be the Declaration of Independence. Why isn't the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution, perhaps, either one of those? Why aren't they the documents? They're non-religious. That's why. Deviant Outcast for 56.
Hooray!
Modern day Sweden turns 502 years today. Hooah! Here's a little something for y'all to celebrate with you. There you go. Thank you for that. Way to go. I hope we'll make it that far. Thank you for the sex. That's some of the best sex we've had here all week. I have to say.
Deviant Outcast.
Yes, me too. Some of the Brian is so fun. Excellent night is here. The First Commandment and the First Amendment contradict each other. Well, that's very true. And I have to say, for those who are unawares, Pardon me. But a democracy is the opposite of what God is in the Bible. God is a authoritarian fascist dictator, as it were, authoritarian dictator.
Totalitarian.
Yes, totalitarian. That's right. There's no voting on anything. So it makes sense that these people would eventually levitate towards somebody who tried to rule with an iron fist rather than by democratic. It just fits their playbook.
Yeah.
Deviant Outcast says, I love giving sex to sinful heathens. I heard that about you.
It's the best.
I feel like
Just-
go ahead. I'm sorry. I
You
just
feel like
kind of
what?
wanted to point out, like, it seems. Okay, let me try to say this right, and I apologize. In what I Kelt, I believe they said their
I
handle was.
think it was Selt.
Okay, I felt that I got the
I got it.
feeling that
Go
they
ahead.
were worried, like they were worried about Islam taking over versus Christianity. So we might as well let Christianity kind of take over here because that's better than. Did I get that correct? Did I pick up on that correct?
And in a way, let it defend us, sort of.
Yeah,
Because
right.
it literally has before. I mean, you've heard me argue that point from like the 700s.
Right, and that was,
Yeah.
a
long time ago. We don't need that help anymore. Thank you, Dave Murphy, for the $20 super chat. Says,
That
hail
was so
skepticism. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
yes, please keep asking questions, y'all.
Here's the deal, Dave. Yesterday, the chat was just lit up. People were going on. I didn't have the time. I was also, lighting my own self up. So I know, we know how the situation was. Chat was going fast. Dave mentioned he's available on Saturdays. I used to run a show on Saturdays, Sci-Fi Saturday. I don't anymore. I've taken a hiatus just so I can get a bit of a break from that. However, if Dave is into sci-fi shows, something specific, and you want to talk sci-fi, I would love to fire up Sci-Fi Saturday and visit with you and run a Sci-Fi Saturday show just for hanging out with Dave. If you're a Star Trek person, oh my goodness, that would be the best. I plan to.
Yes.
Now, what we've had happen in the past is we've had people go, oh yeah, I like that show. And then they get on there and they're like, yeah, I know how to spell the show's title. I'm like, have you seen
I
the
watched
show?
a couple episodes, Chris.
I saw a couple episodes, yeah. They were made sometime within the region, within the time frame in which I was born.
Yeah, I remember seeing it come on TV.
But beyond that, no. Yeah, so if you're into something, we're down. Radical Poet Jackie's here. Can't do it, Captain. I haven't got the power. You didn't know I could do that. It's the Texas accent throws them all. So that's a good point, Brian. Great catch on your part about, I know it's exciting to me too. Great catch on your part about the Islam issue. And I have to say, Islam is an issue. Just like I was watching Casey Malone this morning before the show, very great show. Oh, she was going off. And I was watching her and she was talking about, people ask her kind of the same thing. And she's like, listen, Islam is not here in my grill. You guys have heard me say this so many times. They're not here in my grill. They're not forcing their stuff on me right now. They're doing that maybe somewhere else. And I don't know enough. She even did. I don't know enough about that to talk about that. Over there, like Ryan Knight said, there are people dealing with that. Go watch their shit. But here, I'm dealing with Christians. And Christians are up in my business.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, and now here we are. Texas is talking about. I'm not talking about. They're doing it now.
They're doing it's in action.
And it started very sneakily. Okay, started very slowly. I think it's in. Well, they have tried this bill before. It's the first time that it's gotten this far.
Okay.
But in 2022, they actually passed a bill where "In God We Trust" has to be displayed in all classrooms. So we currently have that already. All classrooms have to have that. There was actually this activist I heard about. Let me see if I can find the name. Something
From the money.
So he... I had the name, I thought. What's his name? Something Stevens. Okay, the last name was Stevens. And this guy, he lives in Florida. And he was making signs, the "In God We Trust" signs, to donate. Because the law is that the signs have to be donated rather than purchased with public funds. But that's only for the In God We Trust signs. So he made these signs, but he made them in Arabic, and he made them in rainbow colors and kind of like LGBTQ themes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he donated them, and none of them were used because obviously they were not godly, because they were in Arabic and they were like in different languages and not in the English. The English is the only language, obviously.
Right, the English aesthetic. Monotheism, hateful God. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but then the next one I will quickly mention it. We'll get into it later. But then was the Bluebonnet curriculum, which is currently actively being used by schools. And then now the 10 Commandment bills. So it's like Texas is like taking steps towards Christian nationalism. Yeah.
And what's going to happen when it gets to the point where Texas, let's say, that's what they're teaching. They're teaching lies about Trump's election loss, about the In God We Trust being forced in there, 10 Commandments, etc. And the next state over decides, like, for whatever reason, Democrats in there, and they're like, we're not doing any of that. And now we've got what? You really want two people side by side? Like, are you intentionally trying to get like civil war? I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Well, if I may, here's one of the insidiousness or the insidious things about Texas in this circumstance. And I could be wrong; it may have changed, so I stand corrected. I will stand corrected if corrected. But back in the day, at least, it used to be that Texas is so big compared to its neighboring states that when they print the books, if you're a neighboring state, you get just like the same books that Texas gets. So if Texas is printing and teaching misinformation to their children, Oklahoma is getting it, Louisiana is getting it, New Mexico's getting it, Colorado's probably getting it. The smaller other states around that,
like gateway drug, then Texas is the gateway drug.
It's again, it may not be that way so much anymore, but it really used to. Now it's kind of, they may have even gone to more digital books, but even then,
even easier.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then it can be
that was
anyone.
Right. That was the way it was. They would put misinformation, or they would whitewash something about, say, the Indians in the Trail of Tears, for example, and they would put it out in Texas school books. And then I, going to school in Oklahoma, who knew the history, would get the next year's school book and go, well, wait a second. Escorted peacefully across the plains.
Right.
I don't.
Right. Or enslaved people got benefits from being enslaved here in America.
Yes. Like it somehow did them a favor. Yeah. They were lucky to be enslaved here.
Yes. Could have been worse. It could have been worse. Like, how about it just shouldn't have been?
Yeah. So I was looking last night at this curriculum that I mentioned, and you just talk about the Civil War and what they're teaching, right? And there was one of the units that teaches about, let me pull it up real quick, the Great Awakening. And it's talking about the founding fathers of America. And it goes on and on about this lesson about the first Great Awakening, that how it swept across across America by the colonists. And then somewhere down here it says that the Great Awakening happened because the colonists wanted people to live their lives in ways that were consistent with their interpretations of the teachings of the Christian Bible. And that many historians think that this religious movement was the first truly national event in America. So basically, the way that all of this is worded to me seems like it's the whole unit. I scrolled through it and read a couple of parts from it. It's like it's trying to spread this typical Christian nationalist claim that the U.S. was founded as a Christian nation.
And they have the manifest destiny of God to the Christians to spread and expand across this nation.
Doctrine of discovery, whatever. Whoever's there, they don't deserve it. It was given to us by God, and they're bad people, so we get to kill them. It's that Moses and Canaanite scenario again.
It justifies killing and taking over entire communities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that starts right in the very beginning of the Bible too, though, doesn't it?
Yes, right. They get that right at the beginning.
This is how you do it.
Yes, an instruction manual. First, hallucinate your God. Right-handed says we need more organizations like the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Yes.
Okay, now
More
I feel this
would be better.
I feel this. We do need more secular organizations. However, in a way, I feel like we'd be better off finding and supporting the ones that are there. Before you go start an organization, go look and see if there's already somebody there who's doing it.
Don't reinvent the wheel if you can help it. Just find a really good organization and stick by them.
And help
that is an
get larger.
Excellent point. Yeah, we're
so limited right now. What's part of our problem? Secular Rarity, his entire mission is to be a hub for all these different secular and atheist and humanist groups to come together under one house. Why do we need something like that? Because we've got all these different secular and atheist community. That's what I'm saying. Freedom from Religion Foundation, we don't need another one. We need to support the one that's there. But we do need more secular groups. Not just that, we need a secular group for the hearing impaired to protect them. You know, we need a secular group for all those things, you know, for various different things. We need lots more. But I'm just saying, before you go.
Investments in our society instead of continuously funneling money to big church, because it's just really what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention as well. Like, support the ones that already are doing the work. Speaking of secular rarity, I do have I've been working with them with their social media and trying to like grow their Facebook page and stuff. So we have a meeting today to talk about all that and doing some more outreach to try to grow the base and, you know, bring all of these different community aspects together. Like we were talking to Rion last night, it's so hard when you come out of religion because you feel like you lose that community. You lose your book club, your cooking club, your whatever, Saturday mornings, hikes clubs, all these types of things that the church provides. And people don't find that in a secular space. And so, so to be able to bring them all together into one place where people can say like, oh, hey, you know what? This is happening today. This is happening tomorrow. And this is my area. And this is in your area. So it's good to have that space. Yeah.
One of the things, I think like Secular Rarity and Elliot over there, I know him. He knows me. He's got his organization growing. His deal is to unify groups like me with other groups, and we can all be a little hub. You know what we haven't done, though? I don't have any links. I don't have anything over there going, hey, you want to join the hub of our community? Here's Secular Rarity. Go join up on him. And I don't know. I'm sure he probably doesn't have. He may have. And
you know what?
Doesn't have a website or a place up going, hey, you want to find a good morning show? Here's a good morning show. You want to find a good atheist lawyer? Here's a good atheist lawyer. You know what I mean? He may be working on that, but that's what we need.
Okay, we are kind of working on a website. It's kind of like they do have the main Secular Rising US website for like Tennessee stuff, but we are working on more of a social media platform, kind of like Facebook alternative, but it's going to be fully secular. And what you just brought up, like making a tab with content creators, that would be a great addition to it. Yeah, I like that.
That's fantastic. You know, I started to pursue something when I first fired up the Atheist Morning Show back in August of last year, but I didn't. You know, I got distracted from it because I do that sort of thing. But there is an atheist dating site community.
Oh,
it's called Atheist. Yeah, it's called Atheist Passions, and it's not just about dating, but they also have like other atheist community organizations there. And I started to get an affiliate link to link and people through. I just got distracted because you have to go through CC Bill and all this BS to become it. But you know, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that we had a secular atheist, or because you know, whenever I'm sitting there, or whenever I was dating before I met the evil one, which I met on Match.com. When I was dating, I really did eyeball. I'd look at a profile. Now, sometimes they say Christian, but you know, Christian would you know what I mean?
You found some wiggle room there.
That's right. A lot of wiggling. Anyway, but you know, you could tell if they had a cross in every picture and all that business, you'd avoid it. But you don't have to do that with Atheist Passions because they're all that way. Anyway, I'm just continue looking up to them and see if they want to. So how long have you been dealing with this, AJ, there in your community? The
I'm sorry, what part?
I'm talking about sorry, I was trying to throw it back to the topic of the show about the Ten Commandments, but
The
this
Ten
is just the
Commandments,
latest.
gotcha.
Yeah, this is just the latest assault by the Christian conservatives. You said they've already done this before, just this is as far as they've gotten. How long have you been living in Texas?
I moved here in 2001. Okay, but I moved from Argentina, so it was a pretty big move for me. And as an atheist coming to America, it was really different because I grew up in like a really isolated rural area, and so we didn't even have a church, so I didn't have like that exposure to religion. It was like
cool.
I think we had like a couple times a bus that came to our school that brought it was brought by the church, so they had like books in it, but there was a lot of like heavily religious books, and that was like my only like super exposure to religion back then until I moved to the US. And the family that we moved with into their house were evangelists. So it was a pretty sharp turn for me from going from complete atheism to like an evangelist home. And I was really naive about religion. Like my mom never really talked about it a whole lot. It was just like, we just were not religious, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she took the label of atheist. I don't remember her saying that. But as far as like structural belief, I would say we were atheists because we didn't believe in a God.
What about her mom? What about your grandmom?
No, they were Catholics. Yeah.
Okay.
She went to like a Catholic school and everything. So.
That's interesting that she was able to.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it happened. We never really talk about that specific. I'm gonna have to ask her because I know that she was really into books. Like reading was like it's still her life. She has like
saved her
walls of books in her office, and like she's writing a couple books too.
Reading is another way to be exposed to other ideas that you wouldn't necessarily be going to.
So I think that was definitely her out of religion, probably. And she loves science, like paleontology and like evolutionary type stuff. She's super knowledgeable about it. So that was something that I grew up kind of like, that was my first foundational belief, right? Like evolution and all that. But then, like I said, I came into a religious family and I was like, kind of like, okay, all right, maybe I believe in a God. And it slowly started to build up.
You figured it out.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
You got out.
Yes.
I'm going to take a quick break here so we can top off our coffee. Anybody out there, you may notice we don't have any commercials on the show, no YouTube ads or any of that business. We turned all that off. So become a channel supporter. But we're cheap. $1 a month, so become cheap. Now I'm going to run us one of our cute little commercial things or whatever it is. We're going to get a coffee and we'll be back in just about 2 minutes.
Flanagan!
Yes, sir. Very disturbing, I know.
Fetch me Father Flanagan.
Your Highness.
You are in the presence of His Holiness, the Pupius Maximus, guardian of the sacred fire hydrant, defender of the holy tennis ball, and eater of the golden kibble, Pup Oliver Poopsalop the Fifth.
Your Popedom, I heard you have a bone to pick with me.
Condoms, Father Flanagan?
No, thank you. I've got plenty.
That's what I mean. Why are you selling condoms?
Oh, you mean our Faro Sombrero line of condoms, understood.
You know how we feel about those around here.
Well, they're not to be used by the Catholics, of course.
Not for Catholics?
No, they're part of our Sinner Gonna Sin lack of faith outreach program.
A sinner gonna what?
It's like getting the tithe, but from the heretics and the heathens and the atheists.
Oh, well, when you put it like that.
But, Your Highness, this will reflect very poorly on the church.
True. You know what this means, Flanagan?
Warning label. A warning label. A warning label on the box. Not for Catholics in big letters.
Too subtle.
Instant purgatory if used by Catholics.
I like it. Divine branding.
Excellent, your popedom. Will there be anything else?
That will be all. You may leave.
All right, and we are back. Thank you. If you haven't seen the pup commercial, I hope you enjoyed it. That pup, I don't know why I call them commercials, but it's a parody thing.
Yeah.
I'm not selling anything.
I know, right?
Wait till you find our Father Flanagan's. I actually have things coming, but the goat-scented flesh candles coming soon to a Walmart near you. I want to make a mention. Michael Wolff finally decided to show up. I mean, come on, man. It's afternoon there. You know, it's not like it's stupid early in the morning for you, slacker. You know how those English folk are.
You know,
Sleep
I
all
had
day.
an idea. Did you think about goat-scented just wax melts? They're pretty popular.
Goat-scented wax melts.
And,
You're turning me on.
I mean, that's so easy. All you have to do is pour the wax into a mold and and then
That's
they
a good idea.
warmer. It doesn't even have to be a candle. And there's little goats. Little goats.
I love it. I love it. We're going to have a variety of products on the show. Good morning, Valentine Tears. Thank you for joining us. Says, good morning from Iowa. How are you doing? Nice to have you joining us this morning. Welcome to the damnation, fellow burner. I hope you guys have, let me just kind of take a little break from the show. We'll do our Theocracy Watch in a minute, and then we'll get back on to our topic of the day. I just want to stop for a moment because, we were all excited when the show started and ask. I'll start with Ryan, and then I'll go to AJ. Ryan, did you do a lot of sinning this week? It's Friday. Do you have sinning planned for the weekend? Lots of blaspheming to do? You do have blaspheming to do. I thought so.
I actually don't have anything planned, but I need to do some recording. So I'll figure something out that I want to record. But that's really it. Not big plans.
That qualifies as sinning.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, then at least I got my sin in.
There you go. But, there are things, sometimes just not doing certain things is a sin.
Right. I will abstain from worshiping Yahweh.
There you go. And the whole multi-fabric thing is a super easy way.
I'm probably doing that right now. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. All right, AJ, how about you? Do you have a bunch of sinning planned for the weekend? Blaspheming? Got any shows coming up you want to tell us about or any of that?
I do, yes. Tomorrow we have right at noon a Scottish guest that I met through the nonprofit. But he is actually moving to the U.S. Shockingly. Oh. I know, surprisingly. Somehow. I don't know why, but...
How is more the question. Well, he's white. Almost certainly white, right?
Oh, yeah. Young white male. So, yeah. Okay, he'll have it easy. Okay.
I understand. Well, I was just wondering how he was getting across the border.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Definitely got the right skin tone, the right accent, the correct language, And he's also going to a Catholic family's house. So he's going to be like their security.
Oh, okay.
Personal security. So, yeah.
There you go.
But he's an atheist.
Demons
but he knows what he's getting into. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So he's cool with it. Yeah.
Good on him. Good luck on him. May the odds be ever in his favor.
Right. Yeah. So he's going to be on my show tomorrow at noon. And we're going to talk about the differences between like gun culture in America versus gun culture around the world and stuff like that. And religion, obviously. I'm sure we're going to do some blaspheming of the Bible. And then later in the day, I'm going to go watch Dogma, which was one of my favorite movies growing up.
About that movie.
That is such a good movie, right?
Let me write that down. Dogma. I got to watch Dogma with the Evil One. We've probably already seen it, but I mean, Dogma is a good one to watch with the evil one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So it's coming out on in theaters because they upgraded like the graphics and all that, just to like
Oh,
have it on the biggest screen. But only like
Yeah.
AMC. I think it's only AMC theaters that have it on. Yeah.
why is it
Okay.
coming back, do you think? Why is it being...
I don't know. I think
Mm.
maybe it might be because of that movie Sinners that just came out. That is very religious heavy.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think maybe they're trying to like.
I just
counteract
wonder if
that.
it's trying to like play into this like satanic panic or like, you know, any kind of moral panic really is what we're witnessing right now. I was just wondering. Anyway.
You could be right. You could be right on that. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it from that aspect.
Yeah, that's interesting as to why they might do that. Good morning, Disciple Mike. Thank you for joining us. Disciple Mike has said, new subscriber. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the damnation. Says, I am not an atheist. Well, not everybody who subscribes is an atheist. We do occasionally have theists who come in and are cool and they chat and they talk and they're awesome. Sometimes they get out of hand, you know. I'm not saying just atheists or theists. I'm just saying people get out of hand. Just don't get out of hand and be cool. You know, don't say you. Shut up, Chris. We'll just find out soon enough. Good morning. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you had a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend planned. New subscriber, Disciple Mike. So, AJ, you were saying you've got that show, and you guys are going to be talking about that. Anything else going on?
I do have more shows coming up. I'm trying to schedule so many this month. I was trying to do like kind of like a pride thing, and I have some atheist friends that wanted to come on, some trans people, some members of the gay community, just to kind of push back,
Excellent.
get that diversity, and they're like get the people that we actually try to uplift, give them a platform to be heard. And
Interesting. Very cool. I want to mention Steve Button has added I don't know. Well, you know how it is trusting people on the internet. But Steve Button says, and it makes sense to me, Dogma is coming back because the rights were locked up involving Harvey Weinstein until recently. So they probably couldn't do anything until recently. So it's, either way, good to know. Well, it kind of makes sense. I had never checked the etymology. That's cool. Disciple Mike says, I'm not here to intentionally insult anyone. I'm a follower of the biblical Messiah. I would not per se. We get you. Sometimes, and I don't mean to derail the show talking about this, Disciple Mike. What happens is we get what we call antagonists on the show. Other shows like to call them trolls.
yeah,
And they'll come in here and they'll say, I'm a believer. You guys are wrong. Atheists are bad. And that's okay. We can deal with that. But before long, they'll start saying, trans women aren't really women. Or they start, they just kind of amp it up until they start saying things that we're not going to tolerate in the chat. And then we boot them. So they come in nice. And then we just see it kind of often. So you don't seem that way so far? Cool. We love having reasonable theists, whatever brand of theology you're into.
We have others in here who are as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happens all the
that's
time.
cool. That's cool. Just don't start saying ugly things. And I could almost be certain, based on what you're saying, you might be a grown-up. You're either a grown-up and you're not. But either way, you know what the line is. I feel you. You probably almost certainly do. So be cool. And we'd love to have you watch the show. So until it's time to not be cool. That is a Roadhouse quote, by the way, for those of you who are not. I'm old. Anyway, we're going to do Theocracy Watch now with Rion. I'm sure she's got something interesting to show us about what's going on in the world. Rion, let's do the thing.
You're tuned into the Atheist Morning Show on the DAM Network. And this is Theocracy Watch.
A former NFL player just called a flag on the play in the middle of Mass. Welcome back to Theocracy Watch, where we track how Christian institutions protect power, not people. And this week, Asking for the Truth got Jake McQuaid escorted out. But he wasn't just some random heckler. The 14-year NFL veteran and lifelong member of Our Lady of the Visitation stood up during Mass and asked church leadership a question the Archdiocese had been dodging for weeks. Yes or no? Did the priest use the parish computer to look at pornography? He was talking about Father Mark Bachman, who's now heading out on sabbatical, but the deeper wound runs back decades to Father Geoff Drew, the priest who confirmed Jake as a kid. Drew was removed from ministry in 2019 after years of complaints, boundary violations with teens, uninvited hugs, and inappropriate messages to minors. The Archdiocese knew all this and still kept him in rotation. And it wasn't until 2020 that Drew was finally arrested and charged back in the 1980s with raping a child. Drew got several years for raping, but meanwhile, the church is playing dress up like the robe can somehow mask the smell of garbage. The porn allegation Jake asked about involved a different priest, but it followed the same script. The warning signs, the digital footprints, the parishioner complaints, and still silence. No transparency, no answers, just an official letter from the Archbishop calling it unsubstantiated and warning parishioners not to gossip. But the parishioners here are not the problem. It's the pattern of abuse. Remember Bishop Joseph Binzer? He lost his job in 2020 for failing to report early allegations against Drew. Yet somehow these same oversight failures keep happening. It's always protect the institution, shield the clerics, bury the truth, and silence the dissenters. And when someone finally stands up and demands answers like Jake did, the response isn't justice, it's police escorts and damage control. They escorted him out of the church because the only thing they care about more fiercely than the doctrine is protecting themselves. So until next time, keep asking questions, stay curious, and stand up for justice. Good job, Jake. That was very brave of him, very courageous, and I'm so glad that he did that.
Go, Jake. It's
Yeah.
your birthday. Way to go.
Mm-hmm. The fact they
I'll
called the police and escorted him out, like, that's messed up. Why can't you just answer the question?
I suspect we may see more of that as more people get frustrated with what's going on and being shoved. Because a lot of these people are the boards, the school board is now heavily religious, you know, and so there it's going to be really hard whenever you stand up and try to give your voice and have somebody listen to your reason. They're just going to have you hauled off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so they even make it harder for people to be heard who can be there. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw when the first step of the Ten Commandments bill here in Texas was going on. They started put it through, and people were planning on going to protest or even to testify in front of the Capitol. So there was a group of people that went to Austin. One of them was genetically modified skeptic. Okay, he has a channel. All right, Drew is his name. And so he went and he was joined by some people, and they stayed at the Capitol for a full 24 hours before they were allowed to speak. And so they do this because they know that people are not going to be able to stay for a full 24 hours. Okay, like they have to take time off work. If they have children, they have to have somebody to take care of their children. If they have pets, they have to have somebody go and take care of their pets. If they leave, they can't come back and get in line. It's like you're in there, you stay there for the full time, and then you get to testify. So they started with something like 12 people, and by the time they got there, it was less than half of them that were able to stay for that full time. So yeah, like even if you're able to do that type of stuff, they're trying to make it as hard as possible for people to fight back.
Right.
Indeed, they're tying people's hands behind their back.
Yeah, but we are like here in Houston. I think you guys probably have heard of Will Judy. He is he's been on some of the other live shows like The Line and stuff like that. He's a Will, Will, Judy, Jeudy. He is I will tag you on some of his stuff. So he lives in Houston, but he often goes to like the stuff that they do in Austin, like the protests and things like that. But he runs Secular Houston. And what they do is exactly what you were just discussing, trying to fight for different school districts to have better representation of people that are not so hardcore Christian nationalists. So they're like they are a nonprofit, but at the same time they are able to lobby a little bit for specific political candidates to help them get more exposure, more votes, and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, he presented Beto. You guys know Beto, right? The no, you don't.
Beto?
He ran for president. He ran for
Beto,
president. Beto. Okay.
Oh,
You do.
yes. No, I do. Yes. Beto.
Okay.
Yeah. Beto. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So we got to meet him last weekend, and Will Judy was there, and he got to present him. So it was really awesome.
Lucky you. Yeah. He seems like a decent person.
Yeah, and he's not running for anything right now. But
Oh, really?
Beto, he's not running for anything. So he's doing these town halls to bring people together, to get voters registered, to like
Oh.
mobilize the movement.
Even better.
I love him because of that, because it's not for his personal benefit. It's just like he's doing it for the community.
Exactly. Love that.
Yes, well, hopefully, I wouldn't mind seeing him run again. Him and Booty Judge.
Yeah. Pete Buttigieg.
Booty Judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Judge.
Buttigieg.
Yeah, I never know how to pronounce his name either. So
I don't either.
Take that
My
one.
bad. I don't know how to pronounce anything. I always mess it up. So
Right.
I just
Did
know
I
the
say
word
it
in my
wrong?
head.
I thought I said it right. Pete Buttigieg.
No, I'm
His
just
name.
saying in general. I don't know.
My accent maybe it kind of landed on that E a little bit. Booty Judge. I didn't mean to do that, but Booty Judge. I thought is how he said his name. Not Booty Judge. I'm a judge of booty, so
we will judge.
yes. Good morning. Let's see who snuck in a second ago. Hard to determine who snuck in. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, JT. All you wonderful people who are out there chatting. I don't mean to interrupt you. It sounds like we've got a lot of Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, simply secular. Those guys would be great. I feel like we need somebody young, liberal. One of the things I'm kind of passionate about is we have seen all the things that Donald Trump and the conservatives have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that the new president needs to do. Donald Trump and them have come in and gone after not only their political opponents, but I mean, like, they've gone in and fired Democrats just for being a Democrat, not for being a political opponent or for being a criminal. They go in and they just gut entire departments, and they're basically getting rid of all the non-loyal people. When the Democrats get back into office, whoever's next, they need to get in there and they need to go find who all the loyal MAGA, who all the conservatives are in the government who were there during this time, and purge them the way
I know what they're
MAGA
going
is
to do.
purging. What's that?
I know how they're going to do it.
Who and what are they going to do?
I think like in the administration or even in any cabinet, wherever, is they just start holding daily prayers, like their optional daily prayers, and suss out who wants to participate. You don't participate, you look sus.
That is, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I honestly, that would be like the easiest way that I would be able to tell, like, okay, who's Christian, or who's really Christian, who's down with the get down.
Yes.
What will be optional will eventually become mandatory.
Yeah.
And
right.
That'll be the easy tell to get them, like you said, replace them, just to fire them.
Yeah, speaking of that, so of course, Texas is also pushing a bill for that, for schools to have prayer time. So, yeah, it's just in the beginning right now. It's like in the early stages still.
Yeah.
It hasn't passed any of the votes yet, but it's introduced. So it's like, because they see like the thing, the In God We Trust passed, the curriculum passed, the 10 Commandments is like at the governor's desk waiting to be signed. Right. So they're like, they're like, this is the time. This is when we do it. One thing I'm really glad about is that there is some pushback. Like the ACLU already say that they're gonna sue immediately as soon as the governor signs it. So we know that there's gonna be a legal battle for them to like actually enforce it. But there are some really outspoken people within the government, some Democrats. This specific representative, James Tallarico, he's been like grilling, right, the bill sponsor. Her name is Candy Noble, and she's a Republican, obviously. But he grilled her about the bill when they were presenting the testimonies. And,
Mm.
you know, one might say she was actually like roasted to a crisp. That's a better way to put it.
That burn.
I
It
think
was,
I saw part of that where
it
he
was
asked her, he's like, "What is this?
brilliant.
He asked her like, "What's the seventh commandment?" And she couldn't tell him what the.
Oh, that
So this
woman?
lady, I think that's the same thing, right?
I think is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
You
she
didn't know
couldn't
any of
even.
that.
There's only
Yeah.
freaking 10 of them, and she's all the way up on Capitol Hill or the Texas, whichever where she was, all the way up there, made it all the way up there, and she doesn't know which one is the seventh commandment. I was
But
so. Go ahead.
not only did she not know it, but then he asked her about a different one. He's like, "What's the fourth commandment?" And she starts to like think about like, "Oh, let me think," and then she remembers, "Oh yeah, like to keep the Sabbath, right?" And then she starts laughing because she's like, "Well, yeah, it is ironic." And he goes on to grill her about it, like, "Well, what day is today?" And she's like, "Saturday." And it's like, "Well, when is the Jewish Sabbath?" And she's like, "Saturday." And then he goes, "Well, what about the Christian Sabbath?" "Sunday." And he's like, "Well, when are we supposed to vote on this bill?" "On Sunday." And so he's like, "Don't you find it a little bit ironic that, you are not actually following any of these commandments that you're trying to post on school walls?" And she had nothing to say to that. She got
Right.
she got roasted.
And
for
I
sure.
think she also said something that I think was, I believe y'all in the comments to tell me if I'm wrong, but was conspiratorial. She said something about the signers of the Declaration of Independence or something like that, Constitution, excuse me. I think she said something to the extent, and I probably have the words wrong, but commission the King James Bible to be like written, not written, but you know what I mean, like brought over here, sold over here. They have something like that, and I'm pretty positive. Y'all tell me, but I don't think that happened because she was trying to
Mm.
say that this country was built on the
Oh
biblical
yeah, she was
Right.
trying to
But I
make
don't
his.
believe that's true at all.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but he did also get onto her about it. He's like you are making it sound like you want that you're wanting this because of historical uh, implications of it, like these historical teachings. But when you're actually speaking about it, I can tell that you're doing it based on religious reasons. And she actually agreed. And she was like, "Well, yeah, because everybody needs to believe in God," something along those lines.
Mhm.
So
Interesting. We've got a couple of chatters here in the chat. The Walking Meme says Christianity is not propped up on the old law, but on the grace of Jesus Christ. If that's the case, then why aren't they trying to get the Sermon on the Mount put in schools instead of the Ten Commandments? Remember, we
Yeah.
talked about this earlier on the show before this theist came in the channel and said this very thing. Why aren't they trying to do that? Why aren't they trying to put those things there? And also, I mean, the notion that our laws and our civilization is built on Christian morality is a little off, in fact. I mean, the things that are good about society that keep us from hurting each other really mostly comes from secular humanist values.
Mm-hmm. That is all
anywhere.
a veneer. All that
Yeah.
civilization. Do you think it's civilized to do the things that we're doing modern day to strip people of their human? Stop. You're not civilized. That is all just fake little lipstick on a pig.
And historically, Christianity has been violent, oppressive, horrific. And even today, it's moving its way back towards being
Oppressive right now.
violent. But it's getting worse in its oppression, and it's
Yep.
getting back towards becoming more violent. We were I watched a video with Casey Malone this morning. She was showing some differences about the extremism. Anyway, so there's just a lot. It's a lot more complicated than that. I saw we had a person in the chat who was in error, and it was a Christian. No surprise. So Mike Simeo, Mike Simeo. I hope I said that right. Mike is in the chat. Cool name. Here in Europe, we have forced atheism in schools, promoting ideas that mass genocide is acceptable for the evolution of the species. Thank you, Darwin. See, you're either lying or you're very misinformed. Yeah, I think you're lying. I don't think anywhere you're going to find atheism out teaching that mass genocide is a good thing. That's Christianity that does that.
I mean, if an atheist does that, number one, it's just a definition. We're not like a cult. But I mean,
true enough.
I really doubt that. Anyway,
really wearing your ignorance on your sleeve there, Mike. I'm just saying, because Christianity has just been so violent and so horrific. I'm not even talking about the other religions. Some people are like, why don't you talk about Islam and all that business? Well, I kind of got a new way of thinking about it, Ryan. It's like a video game. If you play, you take out, you go up against the smaller little bosses, then you get to a big boss. And you have to take down that big boss before you can ever get to the other big bosses down the road, right? Yeah. Christianity is that first big boss. It's up in our grill. We can't
it's the
get
enemies
past
we have right now. You can't even get to the big boss if you don't kill the enemies.
Exactly.
And you can't get to the next level, you could say, until we
till we overcome these enemies that are.
And I think the only way really overcoming Christianity will do the same for Islam. Again, education, more secularism, community. Those will be some solutions. So if one, you know what I mean? Like if we don't fix it now, we will just have the next religion and then the next one after that and the next one after that.
Right. Very true. Very true. We gotta fix it somehow. The Walking Meme says, I mean, if you read the Sermon on the Mount and other sermons, you would realize how Jesus looks on all with love. Interesting. Why isn't the Sermon on the Mount what Christians are forcing in schools? That's the question I'm proposing. Why is it you one of the first things you did, typical, as predicted by me, was you separated yourself from the Old Testament. That's what all the Christians, let me not do that, right? That's what a great many, especially the Christian nationalists. You start throwing the horrific nature of the Old Testament at them, they're like, oh no, we don't do that. Jesus is Jesus is Jesus. Everything's about Jesus. Why aren't they teaching the things that Jesus taught? They're anti everything Jesus taught.
So interesting enough, that is actually in that Bluebonnet curriculum that I mentioned. So here's the thing about the Bluebonnet curriculum. It passed. It's not mandatory, like schools don't necessarily have to use it, but they do give them a little bit of an incentive. Like, hey, we're going to pay you for each student that you have in the classroom. We will pay you if you use the curriculum. So you have rural schools in other areas that don't get a lot of funding. They're going to take anything that they can. And especially if the leadership are also Christian, they're going to be like, hey, welcome it. So I was looking through the list of like all of these units in the book. And yeah, it does mention the Sermon on the Mount, being a good neighbor. It also talks about like different Genesis, the prodigal son story. Like I said earlier, they were talking about how the colonists brought biblical beliefs. I'm trying to see the miracles of Jesus. There's another one.
Oh gosh,
it's insane. There's like at least like 20 or so units that mention
education.
Yeah, and it's even like mashed with Genesis, like creationism, like, and then you go and teach science, and you just tell kids that God just boom, created someone with like a little magic wand. Yeah, it's wild. And it even indicates to teachers to read from the Christian Bible. I'm looking at the actual curriculum paperwork right now, and it's like tells the teacher where to find what verses, the whole thing.
And at what point it's going to be like what specific translation that you have? They're going to start narrowing it down to what.
I think they already have it chosen, don't they?
It mentions the King James version on here about
I'm not surprised. I mean, that seems to be like the usual one that they go with is, Trump and all that.
It seems like it does seem like something they would over later. Once it's fully established, you're going to have Catholics going, oh no, we got to have our
Right.
version in there.
Right. I'm actually surprised the Catholics aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe they are.
Maybe
We
they
might
are.
not even know what's going on behind closed doors.
The walking meme says, fair point, but I'd probably say that schools use the 10 Commandments because it's a foundation for living a moral life. They should teach the different sermons also too, in my opinion. Well, we're talking about, first of all, it's not a very good example for living a moral life. The first four are pretty much three are pretty much just about worshiping God. The rest of them are kind of iffy at best. I mean, you could have done better telling them to boil their water. Yeah. And now, if you want to talk about what was used as a foundational document, they should be pushing to have the Bill of Rights.
Right. That's foundational to this country.
Yeah.
And it's, well, it's more for
true foundational.
Yeah, it's more for the foundational for living a moral life. Yes.
Yeah, because it tells you, okay, well, this is the rights that everybody has, so don't infringe on those people, on people's rights. Treat other, you can, or teach people that, well, it's not Jesus' golden rule. It actually comes from somewhere else, but teach the better version of it. Treat people how they want to be treated.
Yeah, Rion and I were discussing last night, and we mentioned that one of the commandments literally tells you to not covet your neighbor's property, which includes their donkeys and their wives and their slaves. So how is that moral, like owning your woman?
Thanks for including us. I mean, we're not included in the Constitution. We had to be amended in there. Thanks for that.
True enough. Sue Denham showed up, guys. Say hi to Sue Denham. If you haven't met Sue Denham, Sue, where have you been, Sue?
Sue Denham.
Where have you been? We missed. I never got that. Until just now when you did that. It's Sue Denham.
Pseudonym.
Right? That's why I never got that. Hello. You got me, girl. You got me. Hello, Sue Denham. Thank you for joining us. One of the things that this individual, the walking meme, says is, I don't know if you're open to having guests to speak on your show, but I would love to have a respectful back and forth with you if you're not complete. I appreciate the offer and the respectful offer. One of the things that I've learned and where I am in my if I have you on my show, it could be mistaken as platforming whatever views you have. And I don't want to do that. I don't know you or any, I try to be pretty careful about who I have on my show, because I don't want somebody to come in and go, oh yeah, let's have a nice friendly debate. And then you get on here and you start talking about something, you know what I mean? I try to be respectful to my community by not platforming somebody on my show like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On somebody else's show, if you wanted to have a debate or something, then I might actually have a debate with somebody somewhere. I'm not against debating anymore. I used to be against debating or even conversations. But I appreciate the coolness of your offer. Thank you for that. Instead of being a jerk, right? Sometimes they come in and like, you're stupid. I'll debate you right now. Here's $10. Anyway, so thank you for that. Mom Poppy.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. See, that's the whole deal. I can't have people come up and I just don't do that. I remember that one time I had a Catholic priest with the old Daily Atheist Morning Show. And the purpose was to find out his beliefs about abortion and those sorts of things. You know who he is just when you turn it on. You know what he's going to say. But man, I tell you, the chat, oh yeah, it was not good. It devolved very quickly. Scott Duke says, what is this community leaderboard all about? Well, here's the deal. It's a new thing. It's a new feature of YouTube to try to get people to participate more. Whoever does the most chatting or super chatting gets more points. And that's kind of what it's all about. It's just really kind of a thing to get people to chat. It's interesting. I guess it works. Some people are down for it. Now, I do want to mention the walking meme. If you do there is the deconstruction zone. He loves to have people on his channel and talk about these things. He's got a call-in show. He does it almost every night. I think he's a workaholic. So Justin, deconstruction zone, check him out. And of course, check out AJ's channel for those of you who are not familiar with AJ's channel. Thank you guys for letting me do that little shout out. I want to do our poll real quick and just get people's perspective on the poll. pardon me, damp lung, and that'll get us, back to where we were with you and your experiences there. The 10 Commandments are coming to the classrooms in Texas. How should secular or non-Christian parents handle this? Now, I know one thing is going to be, it varies depending on your circumstances. If you're a theist, or an atheist, and you can homeschool your children, there might be a number of reasons why you might want to do that besides this reason. But not everybody can do that. So here are the options I gave. Pull their children out of public school and school them at home if you can. Option number 2, keep them in school but teach them the truth at home. And that one, so far we've got 46 votes and 72% of the people have really gone with that one. Keep them in school, teach them the truth. And then we've got 4% who says teaching or forcing Christianity in schools is good. More of this. So, what are your thoughts? I guess you kind of demonstrated your thoughts. Would you like a link to the poll? Let me give you a link to the poll here.
Oh,
You can, if the fourth option, I've only get 3 options. Are you in the chat? I'll post a link in the chat if you can see it there on the channel.
Got it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so the fourth option is none or all of the above. If you've got your own way you think, or an option you want to give, go ahead and put that. So far, 18 people have commented. One of them said teaching civilities and history, not mythology. Yes, way to go. I don't know what Project 1619 is. I'd have to look up that. Sue the school for violating the Constitution. Good, I like that one. Mushi 8165 says all will still break, every one of them a bunch of hypocrites. I'm not even sure if we're talking about the same thing. John Fotham says pull them and move them to private schools that are known for adhering to secularism. There you go. Good choice. Good choice.
There are very few, though. Very few.
There really are. Yeah, especially Texas. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts were, obviously I homeschool and I'm glad that I did, but I absolutely agree that it's not for everybody. Not everybody can afford it. I know I'm really lucky to be able to do that and to be able to stay home with my kid and to do the whole homeschooling. So I would say the next best option, which is actually what we ask Christians to do, right? Send them to school and teach them whatever your truth may be at home. And I wish that they will do that, but they are forcing their religion in public schools. So we are kind of now forced to be the ones to have to teach our kids about the harms of religion at home. I mean, there are not that many other options. Like, again, not everybody can go and send their kids to a private school, even though, the vouchers are another one that Texas passed also.
Yes.
So that's, I was counting like 3 or 4. Now we keep adding up. Now that we're talking about it, it's just, it's a whole Project 2025. It's the purpose of Project 2025. Right. It was listed on there. And now they're checking each one.
Did you see yesterday we showed up that Project 2025 Observer? It basically tracks everything in Project 2025 that's happening right now. Yeah, it's rather scary looking at the percentages. Like some are already complete. Like they're just invading every.
Here it is. I got it up on the screen if you can see it.
Yeah.
I'll even make it more bigger. And this is the Project 2025 tracker. This is how far they are. Out of all these goals, total, they've got that many goals done. Whenever you look here at progress by agency or by what their goal is, defense, they've just got to use the Congressional Review Act for presidential powers, right? Let's look at this one here. For presidential powers, they've literally completed all the goals they had within Project 2025. For presidential powers, including attacks on the Justice Department and the White House. Take this position, there you go, immediately end any policies of they've done all the things. They're marching us towards this. And I gotta believe it's only ignorance on the part of a lot of these people, women, people of color, gay people who support any of you out there who are not a het, cis, white, rich male, and you support the MAGA party. I just don't get why you do it. It blows my
I'm
mind. It's like,
confused.
why do you? Yeah.
I just feel like they got fed propaganda somewhere. Lots of propaganda.
Lots of propaganda and misinformation.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of them are going, oh my goodness, we didn't vote for this, because they're all of a sudden surprised.
Right. They didn't know what a tariff is, or didn't realize that we'd be paying for it and would make it difficult for products to get in the country, and for people here who are buying products to now have to pay, like bills are coming in the mail because they bought something for $1,000, and now they're getting a bill for a couple hundred in the mail from the government saying, tariff, please.
We have a new viewer in the chat. The secular founding period history.
Oh, I like that name.
Nice.
That is cool. The secular founding period. All right, they are dropping some knowledge. In the founding period, Virginia rejected school vouchers. That was the first attempt to have them. It was a bad idea back then. It's a bad idea back now. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the chat earlier mentioned, and I think it was one of our theist friends, had mentioned how the King James Bible is older than the Constitution. That doesn't make it better. There are manuals you can find out there about how to operate on the brain. We found skeletons where people from hundreds of years, they've operated on the brain, even put the bone back, and shown that those persons healed and went on to live hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. They found evidence that people were operating on brains. But I tell you what, the medicine we have much better today. I would much rather trust a modern day brain surgeon with all the education that science has brought them than someone from several hundred years ago. Just because it's old doesn't mean
it could be better, but could be worse. Right. Atherat Ashira is before Yahweh, so she's better then.
I agree. There are plenty of other mythical books older than the Bible. Those are true.
The Bible is only from like the 2nd, 3rd century BCE. It's not as old as people think. There's plenty of books older than that.
So many. And that's kind of the deal. Well, once again, as we circle back to, I don't know, I need to check with my chat to see which states have forced it. Is it also Oklahoma, or did they try and fail? But Oklahoma, we know what's going on in Oklahoma. First of all, Texas has got the 10 Commandments going on right now. That's what we're talking about. Oklahoma either has them or has tried to get them, but they're also tried to get it to where the state is funding Catholic Church, just one. Okay, that's what they were fought. They went to their state Supreme Court, lost there. They pushed it up to the full-blown Supreme Court, and it was a freaking tie, a 4-4 tie, stopping them from moving that forward. Now, can you imagine how much money would be lost of our tax dollars would be lost if they pass that? If one religious institution managed to get it through to where their school can get funding from the government, that would empty our coffers. Every church, school would be going crazy.
Did you see McMahon, whatever her name is, the Department of Education, answering questions about that? And they asked her, well, you're a billionaire, millionaire, whatever. So technically, you live in Texas or whatever, so you could qualify for this thing or that thing because the vouchers are for anybody. And she's like, well, I'm not saying what she basically danced around the question. She wouldn't answer it because rich people are also qualifying for the voucher. So poor people are going to get in the backside.
And you can't kid yourself and tell yourself that she's not going to take, or those rich people aren't going to take those vouchers. You can't.
Oh no, I don't need the money. I'm not going to take. Right. Oh, who does that? Who does that? Nobody does that.
Axel Ignat says, didn't Texas try to allocate $1 billion for religious charter schools specifically? I don't really know. Maybe they possibly did.
I just looked it up because when you were talking about how much we would lose, I was like, wait, I think it was like $1 billion. And yes, the voucher program allocated $1 billion over the next 2 budget cycles, which I think is 2 years, for it's claimed that is, for families of underfunded schools to send their children to private schools, but this is not true because the families, like say myself, if we get a voucher, I still can't afford to send my kids to a private school. So who can use those vouchers? People who already have kids in private schools. It's just like a little discount. So it's already going to like highly Catholic schools, mostly religious schools. Yeah.
It's making you, the poor non-believer, pay for the wealthy.
Yes, exactly.
It is. Yeah. That's
transfer of
exactly what it
funds,
is.
like Ryan keeps saying it like a chorus line. She kicks up her feet every time. A transfer of wealth from the poor to the.
It is. Because I'm over here, like, I am in a really low income area. It's mostly Hispanic people. Our school is a Title I school, which means that over 40% of the kids get reduced or free lunch because they are at such a below the poverty level, right? So we are still paying taxes. So we pay those taxes for the local schools, and then they're taking that money from the local schools and giving it to all these already rich people in already rich private schools, and be like, hey, here's a discount from all the poor little people out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Kentucky Atheist, good morning, Joe, says, Oklahoma. Oh, wait, Joe says, all the rich folks that bitched about food stamps were all about it when COVID hit. They are against student loan repayment unless they get money too. They are against a living wage. It's all about the greed. You know, my deal is I was born and raised poor.
Same.
And I've always been poor. So, I mean, if I had $5 or $6 million in a nice house and a nice car, I can't really see why I wouldn't pay my own way. I don't see why I wouldn't mind paying my taxes. I don't see why. I mean, it's not. I would still have $5 or $6 million.
Right. You'd still be sitting pretty.
Why do they have to go forward and hurt people?
Right. You're right. They're hurting people. Kids are having the food taken out of their mouth by removing these systems. Trust me, as a hungry kid, as someone who didn't get to eat every meal, school, lunch, or, whatever was a lifeline to me. And even my children, when I was a single mom raising them by myself, I didn't get child support because, that's just the country we live in. And if it were not for, sometimes I could get SNAP, we wouldn't have been able to eat. And I was working, Mom. I worked a lot too. So you're going to be, I mean, gosh, I don't know what could happen. They're going to lose their homes for not being able to pay bills because it's going to be a choice of putting food on the table or, paying an electric bill.
And on the other end, I saw this report on the news recently where they say over the last year, the top 10 richest only men in America collectively made over $1 billion per, like each one. Okay, over $1 billion each.
Yeah.
It was something along those lines. It was like an insane amount.
More than
money.
we'll ever see.
And hold on, let me see.
Brent A in the chat says war on the poor. I've been saying that.
Yeah, it is.
I've actually even said that and I've said this before, I know it's an ugly thing to say, but once they've gotten automation and all the things to where they don't need poor people, they will actively step up the extermination of poor people. I said it right here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was way off.
What were you thinking?
I'm sorry. I'm just like, that just blew my mind. I looked up the article. It was $1 billion a day.
Oh, my Lord.
Total, collectively for the 10. That is still
sweet baby
wild.
Oh, my God.
That is crazy.
Disgusting. And what are you so greedy for?
Right. What can you do with it all? Whenever you take that much money, you just lock it up in a bank or investments or whatever.
That's why our economy gets crap, because even the everyday people can't even afford to go to the local restaurant and eat out. the local businesses start to starve, which is, again, this is all intended. It's what they want. They want there to be food deserts where you've got to like travel out of town just to go to a real grocery store. They want people to have to go to freaking Dollar Tree. People are shopping at Dollar Tree for freaking groceries.
Right.
No, something is weird about that. I'm not saying it's bad, because
And
you have to survive on it, but it shouldn't be like that kind of. No, sorry.
It's only going to get worse, though, as we know now, as we're looking on in these states now are forcing these religious practices and these far right wing notions on children in schools. They didn't have that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 15 years ago. Now, going forward, we're going to have adults that were grown in Tulsa or in Oklahoma who believe that Donald Trump was cheated out of his election, who believe that the 10 Commandments should be in every class, who, they believe these things. It's going to be easier for the people in power then to do even more harm. Whenever they call me alarmist for saying women, they're coming after your rights to vote. They're already talking about it. You don't have to listen to me. Whenever they talk about taking away people of color's right to be free, they're already talking about it. Don't listen to me. Go look it up. This is crazy. It
really is.
It really is crazy. I'm gonna take a little break so we can top off our coffee. You guys can get a little, run to the little girls. I have to run to the little girls. And we'll be back in just a minute, and we'll close out the show, guys. Let's have some goat-scented flesh candles for you. And I push the button.
Have you sinned again? Oh, and it's bad this time. A chicken just won't do. But wait, you don't have a goat for your burnt offering. Oh, no. The Lord's wrath is upon you.
Insignificant person whose name I don't know, you have sinned. Probably. I shall smite thee.
What do? You're all out of goats. She left you for another man.
Fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanagan's line of goat-scented flesh candles.
No goat? No problem. Just light one of these bad boys and let the sweet, savory scent of burning goat flesh rise up to the heavens.
Is that goat?
It's easy, it's fast, and deluxe models even have patented technology that produces a goat screaming sound as the wick burns.
Father Flanagan's line of goat-scented candles. Save a goat, burn a candle.
Father Flanagan's line of goat-scented flesh candles are part of our You Do You Jew interfaith outreach program.
When you sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. When the Lord requires 100 snow, light a candle or you're going to hell.
THC gummies is a
We're back.
Oh.
And we're back. Perfect timing. Jason Freer has become a member. Thank you, Jason, for becoming a member to the channel. We were talking about yesterday on the show, on Joe's show, the Kentucky Atheists. They're like, hey guys, you guys are running the BahaCon. And I'm like, if you have any spots available, because somebody who's traveling before can't make it, call me and I'll fill that spot.
Holler.
And they're like, they didn't say anything. They just sit there like this real quiet. And then one of them goes, then they're like, well, we love people. Some people are just a little aggressive, and we don't, there's some atheists that are mean, and we don't talk. I think they may have been talking about me.
Jason and Jeff, who are two of the organizers for BahaCon, they're going to be on my show. We're going to be talking about that on the 19th.
Awesome.
I'm
like, well, I know me. I probably said something.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're awesome. I'm looking forward to all those little gatherings. Somebody may even stream. Was it Joe said he streamed from there last year? So if I don't get to go, I'll at least try to watch.
Oh yeah.
And so thank you very much, Jason, for becoming a channel supporter. Much appreciated.
Yay.
Well,
I was just thinking about one more thing about that stupid 10 Commandments bill. Something really ironic that I heard the other day. It was another video by somebody who is trying to oppose it, and he's a local representative here in Houston, John Rosenthal, and he's Jewish. Okay, so he tried to add an amendment to the bill so that they will add the Jewish Ten Commandments next to the Christian ones.
Really?
And the Republicans struck it down. They were like, nope. And he was like, he said that he didn't introduce it because he wanted the Jewish Ten Commandments to be posted, that he introduced it to show the hypocrisy because he knew that it was going to be struck down. So that was like his way of kind of protesting and being like, hey, you know what? You're not being fair. You're not doing this for freedom of religion. You are doing this for indoctrinating your religion on everybody else, regardless of what their religion is. So that's what it is.
Interesting. It's amazing that it's so open and blatant. And they deny it up until the moment they can't deny it. And then when they do and they can't deny it anymore, then they obfuscate, or they distract, or they blame, or they accuse, you know? And here again, we even have people, one of my commenters on my other channel, the Chris Mallard channel, I've got a video similarly titled going today. And one of the comments over there was, I hope so. I hope they, impose these blasphemy laws and make these kids the 10 Commandments. We need that stuff in school. I'm like, you only say that until we're putting the Hadith in the school, until we're down there making your children say, prayers, reading out the Quran. Then all of a sudden you'll have a change of heart.
Exactly.
And the lady we had on our show yesterday, and I know everybody thinks that's crazy talk, it doesn't happen. But, and one of the things she pointed out yesterday was in South Africa, they now have a Muslim party. And that Muslim party is growing. And they have anti-blasphemy laws already on the books. So what happens when the Muslim party, 15 or 20 years from now, become fully in power and start using those blasphemy laws? They say it don't happen, but it can happen.
Well, I think anything could be possible, and in this country, you see how easily things can be swung.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, now. Right.
So I was just going to say about Trump. The party said that they had nothing to do with Project 2025. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with it. And then when they were recently confronted about it, they still tried to avoid they were like, okay, well, did this happen from Project 2025? Yeah, that lines up, went through a list. Yeah, but still would not admit you're basically enacting Project 2025. Oh,
but he did that in the first presidency as well. They gave him something like 350 suggestions, right? And he adopted over 250 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
the whole time.
We have a name I don't recognize. I think I do. Ravidel. I think I recognize that name. It may have been a while, though. Or are you new? Good morning, Ravidel. Thank you for joining us. It's an ungodly hour. Says, has the world gone to hell while I was gone for a few days?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to hell. There's some interesting developments going on right now, though, because apparently Elon Musk and Donald Trump are having a lover's spat. Y'all want to talk about that for the last 5 or so minutes of the show?
I mean, if y'all don't mind, I wanted to do a Theocracy Watch about it this morning, but I was so busy yesterday. I did not have the time. That was all I could squeeze out was what you got today. But oh my gosh, my husband told me, and I was like, wait, what? And I ran to try.
It's so funny.
Yep. I was watching it this morning. For those of you who somehow don't know,
well, if you
I don't know how you couldn't know. Donald Trump threatened to essentially, after some breakup, a very short version, Donald Trump threatened to take away all the government financing and funding to Elon Musk because Elon Musk is kind of being a jerk, according to Donald Trump, towards Donald Trump, because Elon Musk is saying bad things about Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Elon Musk turned around and said, hey, you know why they're not releasing the Epstein files? Because Donald Trump is in them. And it's just gotten worse from there. So it looks like the community on the right, the MAGAs on the right, are very split because a lot of them really like Elon Musk more than they like Donald Trump. And that is a thing. Donald Trump's Donald Trump's Live Social has been imploding on him with comments that he doesn't normally get. So one of you guys want to talk about it for a minute? I'll let you.
Yeah, so he posted this another funny. I'm looking at it because it was really weird. Like the last one that he posted last night said tomorrow 3 p.m. PST, and then hashtag Bigfoot, and it's like a picture of a pig's eye and a red high heel shoe with some really weird creepy AI toes. And I have no idea what that means, but I
may
am
know what that
really
means.
interested
What?
to
What does
see.
it mean?
I don't know.
Repeat it for me. What did it say?
It's-
What were the
it's-
words?
Pig foot, like a pig, like the
Mhm.
animal, and then foot. Let me see if I can show
Pig
real quick. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from.
I'm afraid of what that means.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what he's talking about. What is he implying exactly?
Well,
So the image is. Let's see.
Oh, a pig
Oh.
eye and a. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
I don't know what he's trying to say with that, but I'm thinking like he posted a time
Does he like to
for
lick
today. So like he's gonna, I don't know. I think he's gonna release something. Like he's gonna smash the pig or something. I don't know. It's gonna
Oh.
step on it. You know.
I had no idea. Well, folks, we got to go. See you later. I got to catch up on some things. I'm eager to see what he's got going on. I'm going to here in just a second before we wrap up the show. We'll do our super chats, and then I'll run our Ark Encounter protest commercial. God notice people. Thank you for that, because we've got the Ark Encounter protest coming up. I didn't know that, guys. I did not know that. Thank you, AJ. I'm going to have to go look that up. What could that mean? In a pig's eye?
Yeah.
Was that a pig's eye, or was that Donald Trump?
It was a pig's eye. Yeah. It was
Okay.
a pig.
Sometimes it's tough.
But it
So-
looks like Donald Trump.
Joseph in the chat says it's the pork and the big beautiful bill. Okay, that makes sense because
Okay.
he did call it a pork bill.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
But I
makes
wonder
sense.
what this shoe with the toes coming out.
And it was a red shoe, so it
Yeah.
was kind of like a smash the MAGA or something like that.
But-
yeah.
but
The
it was-
symbolism.
yeah.
Like, what does it mean? What is the symbolism?
But there was also a high heel.
Yeah. Right.
It
So
was
what is he
a
gonna like
high heel.
have the woman?
Well, very reminiscent of Heil Hitler. But I don't know if I don't.
Oh,
That would be a
okay.
Trump thing. That would be more like an Elon thing than a Trump thing. I think.
True.
I'm reaching. I made that up. I'm a liar. Gary Shakuzo. I got it. Shakusky, like a husky. Says, having popcorn while watching the Broligarch breakup during Pride Month. Oh, no
Right?
doubt. No doubt. Way to see it. Way to see it.
That cheers
I
me up.
can't
I
wait.
tell you what.
It absolutely. I can't wait. I'm now. I got to go find out what you're talking about. What he's going to release. There are things. I actually would not be surprised. See, one of the things about this past election is that I could be convinced with enough, even the tiniest amount of evidence, that Elon Musk and Donald Trump conspired together to digitally somehow overthrow the election, because he's, I could be convinced of that. What happens if they start breaking up?
Mm-hmm.
How does that go?
We knew it was going to happen. I'm actually
Well-
surprised that it lasted 6 months. I kind of thought it was happening sooner, but
Yeah, but there was
One
one of the tweets by Elon where he said that there should be a third political party. It was yesterday, okay, during the back and forth.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
So we were like,
fuck outta
okay,
The Nazi Party?
that is.
Wouldn't surprise
It
me.
could potentially be a good thing because it will divide the MAGA voters. And like the Democrat voters will more than likely stay. So like just their numbers will be divided. That
one
could be a
could go
positive.
Bad. Yeah, true. That could go bad if he starts to pull people away from their party, because I don't think we have enough to sink the Democrats.
Kind of like water down. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be the only positive that could come out of it.
I mean,
I'm trying
one
to
of the
keep
parties as
I'm
it
trying to
is.
keep positive, guys.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that happened with the last election after Trump was president the last time, he handled things so badly that people were so desperate that they voted in such huge numbers, and they voted for Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against Biden necessarily, but he wasn't my first choice. Remember how I don't want to use the word fucked Bernie Sanders with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton screwed over Bernie Sanders, and that ended up getting us, anyway.
Yeah.
We ended up with Trump because of all that business. But then Trump ran the business, ran it so poorly that even the Democratic Party that was left, what was left of that, remember Wasserman Schultz and all those people responsible for the thing, even they, as weakly as they could with the Biden effort that they did, they managed to win the presidency because Donald Trump was so freaking horrific. This has just been even worse.
And I'm mad that the DNC isn't really like, what are they doing? They arrested that woman from the mayor's office or whatever. They're arresting other people. They just went and handcuffed somebody else up in their office for claiming they were harboring rioters when there wasn't even people in there. Like, it wasn't even the case. And the DNC is just like, we're gonna. Was it Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries? I'm not sure. He was like, we're going to have a plan and we're going to attack it when we choose to attack it. And it will be our decision when we choose to make a decision. And like you said, a bunch of nothing. Like, bro, like they're literally arresting people in the Democratic Party and you're not saying anything.
And they're looking for things to arrest the people in the Democratic Party. Like the one of them that I think got arrested at the one of those rallies or whatever was, it was like they barely brushed this officer's hand off of them when the officer grabbed them or was doing something to them. They barely just they're just looking for anything they can do to arrest these people. They're just waiting for it. Yep. Of course, I've been saying it for a while. You know, guys, I so much appreciate you. I'm going to read our super chats for the day, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Let me go here with our fan funding. JT became a channel supporter. Thank you for becoming a channel supporter. Modern Day Sweden turns 502 years old today, said Deviant Outcast for 56. Thank you for that. Happy birthday, Modern Day Sweden. Here's a little something for y'all to celebrate with. I want your sex. Dade Murphy. Yay, Dade. I hope you're still there working out there, staying safe, sinning safely, my friend. For $20, said hail skepticism. And then Jason Freer became a channel supporter. Jason, thank you for becoming a channel.
Thank you, Jason.
Very much appreciated. Ladies, you have a wonderful weekend, both of you. Thank you, AJ, for talking with us today about this subject.
Thank you so much for having me. So much
absolutely.
fun.
Subscribe, y'all. You better go subscribe. We need to get her to 1K real soon because she's not even 500 yet. So go over there, watch episodes, like, comment, do all you can to boost that algorithm over there. We need more people like AJ here.
Let's get her to 500. Yes. Let's go steps, baby steps. Thank you both very much for joining us. I'm going to run our ARC Encounter protest. Whenever after that, I'll read out the show. Thank you, guys. We'll see you all.
Bye.
Thank you all for your time this week. I very much appreciate you. Sin safely, my friends. Have a great weekend. We will see you Monday. Okay? Take care.
Got a house that smells like old cheese and shame. Father Flanagan's flesh candles change the game. Goat-scented thrills for your soul's delight. Light it up, baby, make your room right. When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and a Confession booth, busy, no need to stress. Light a candle and forget your mess. Gross odors vanish like sins in the wind. With each wick, guess who's your new best friend? When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. Smell the goat in a holy zone. Father Flanagan here to set the tone. Lambs and calves may have their day, but goat's the scent that leads the way. Clean your slate with a sniff so pure. Father Flanagan's got the cure. Turn your home into a saintly space. With every whiff, find redeeming grace. From your living room to the kitchen sink,